Over the last couple months, I've been testing out this gun here, the Springfield Armory SA-35. Now, it's got its positives, it's got its negatives. For instance, it is super accurate and crazy reliable. On the negative side, I don't necessarily like the way that it fits my hand, and the beaver tail just digs into the webbing of my hand, something fierce, bugs the crap out of me. But we're not here to talk about this gun today. Today, we're here to talk about this one. This is the Apex Edition SA-35. Big thanks to my friends over at Apex. They got in touch with me and they asked me if I wanted to test out an SA-35 that had all of the parts that they are now offering for that gun. And of course I said yes, you know, that's going to save me a bunch of time and money, so why would I say no? One of the first things you're going to notice is this hammer. Now the hammer is taller, it is flatter. Honestly, as far as hammer manipulations go, I like this a lot better than I do the stock configuration hammer. The stock hammer's not bad, but it can always be better. There are times when manipulating the hammer for the stock SA-35 that because of its round shape, I do kind of feel like my thumb might slip off. That's not a huge deal because I'm not really manipulating the hammer that often, but it is something that I notice. Now with this Apex hammer, it rides a little bit higher. It's got a nice little angle to it, and the serration that's in there is nice and sharp without actually being like sharp. So I really do like that feature. There have been a couple of times where I have decocked out on the range and I don't have to worry about it slipping out of my thumb whatsoever. Hey, let me ask you something. What's holding your pants up? Wrong answer. It should be core. Core is the original ratcheting belt design. Settle for no imitation. Now, I've been wearing pants for a long time now, and whether it is the daily grind at work or because I need to keep my pants up for my firearm, Core is the only belt for me. Pull your pants up, show some respect, and use 360 TS at checkout at Core Essentials. Now, we all know Apex is known for their triggers, so of course the flat-faced, widened trigger that's on here is incredible. Now, as far as performance goes, you're going to get the same roughly trigger weight as you would with the stock version, but I can tell you this, the flat-faced trigger that's on here is a lot more comfortable to use. I feel like I have a little bit better leverage with it. Honestly, worth every penny of that trigger. The stock trigger is your standard curved trigger. It's not that wide. You know, everything in this world can be improved on, and Apex does just that. Another improvement for this gun that Apex has done is the Apex extractor. Now, when it comes to extraction, I haven't had any problems with the standard SA-35. It's ran really well. I haven't had any like ejection problems whatsoever. Sometimes the actual ejection can be a little bit erratic. I have noticed with the Apex extractor that it's running a lot better. It's more consistent in where the spent brass is going. Is that something that's completely necessary? I don't know. It's there. It's doing something for the gun. If you're having some problems with extraction, I would say that could be a good upgrade for you. Now, you guys know if I've got a gun that I can possibly put a magwell on, I'm going to do that. And this gun is no exception to that rule. The magwell itself, it gives me a nice comfortable fit for my grip. I feel like I'm getting a little bit better leverage over it, which is giving me better recoil mitigation as well as faster and more accurate reloads. There are two downsides to this magwell. Personally, I don't see them as downsides. They are just things that you'll have to keep in mind. Number one, your standard magazine base plates are not going to work once you install the magwell. I found that the standard plates will insert almost all the way, not quite far enough so that when you rack the slide, you can actually strip around and send one home. So you will need to get the Apex magazine bases from Apex. They have both the standard size as well as the ones for the 10-round magazines. Another potential downside to the magwell that I personally don't see as a downside is that in order to be compatible with the magwell, you're going to have to change your grips. Now, here I have a set of lock grips. These are going to be available on the Apex site. These grips are great. They have a little bit of a palm swell to them, and they have a notch cut out specifically for this magwell. Now, I was a little apprehensive at first about the palm swell on these grips. My very first trip to the range with this gun, I was sold. I feel like my hand is filled more by the grips. It is a more comfortable grip, and it feels more ergonomic than what the stock grips do. Not only that, but I'm also finding that while I'm shooting, for whatever reason, I'm getting less beaver tail bite to the webbing of my hand, which was a huge complaint for me on how this gun performed stock from the factory. For me, the SA-35 isn't the type of gun that I'm going to daily carry. You know, I don't necessarily see it as a duty carry gun. It's certainly not going to be the gun that I grab in the middle of the night if I hear a window break or the back door get kicked in. For me, this gun it's a range gun. It's a lot of fun. I like shooting it. I like it a lot better with all of these Apex add-ons. Is it completely necessary to add all of this stuff to your SA-35? I'm going to say some of the stuff yes, some of the stuff no. Honestly, if you are an enthusiast of the HiPower, if you are an enthusiast of the SA-35, all of these upgrades make sense. If you're the type of person that, buys a gun stock from the factory and you just run the heck out of it, and you don't necessarily invest anything into those guns, that's fine too. I would definitely recommend going over to Apex and checking out those grips though. The grips make a huge world of difference when it comes to how the gun feels in my hand. You may think that it's comfortable now, but once you get those grips on there, and probably the magwell, it's really hard to beat this gun afterwards. All right, guys, that's going to be it today for the Apex version of the SA-35. I'm going to get this thing packaged up so I can send it on back to them. As always, I really appreciate you watching. I'll see you back here real soon.